So this is what we would consider in my programs as a phase 1 offer validation ad. So it says 0 to 45 days. You can get this up really, really quickly, and you don't have to spend 45 days on this. It really just depends on how motivated you are to get this up. So in terms of what an offer validation ad actually is, this is the phase where you figure out if your offer has product or service market fit before you move forward to things that are more complex. So as we talked about yesterday, the offer is really important. That avatar is really important. We want to make sure that those things are a fit before we start layering in a bunch of complexity. Because as we also discussed yesterday, a lot of times people will see something that's not working, but they're not really fixing the things that aren't working. They are always going back to the ad. So we want to limit some of the variables that we're going to have to analyze in this initial stage. So when you're going to do this, this is when you are just getting started. And this is not for someone who's just getting started with ads as a whole. This is really for anybody who is testing out a new offer. If this is not a proven offer, this is going to be the first step that you're going to take. So how are we going to do it? We're just going to use a Facebook lead form or an instant form. So as we talked about previously, there are a lot of variables that go into understanding, is it your funnel that's causing things not to work, or is it something else? So again, we want to limit those variables. We want to make it really simple and fast to get up and running with these ads so we can start to see, is this offer resonating? Is the audience responding to this offer? And if so, we'll start to layer in that complexity, which is really where we go through phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, et cetera. So some of the KPIs that you're going to be looking for in phase 1, we talked about KPIs yesterday, are your CTR all. So we are hoping to get to that 5% mark on CTR all. If it's less than 5%, you can still have an ad that's performing, but the closer you get to that 5%, the better. We also want to look at your cost per lead. So we also discussed yesterday, cost per lead is not necessarily the most important thing. It's really that cost per core event. But we do want to know that we're getting leads at an acceptable cost. So the cost of these leads will vary a little bit depending on the offer that you are focused on. But ideally, we should be seeing something between $5 and $20 per lead. Does that mean that if you're at $21 per lead or $25 per lead that you're going to throw in the towel? No, but this is what we're really shooting for. In terms of cost per schedule, or maybe it's cost per purchase, if you're running something that is for a purchase conversion, granted, that's really not what we should be doing at this stage. We're not trying to get them to purchase through the ad just yet. That's another layer of complexity. So we are focusing on the schedule. If you are doing SaaS, that might be a demo call. If you are doing agency, that's going to be your strategy session or your discovery session or your audit, however you're framing that product preview offer. So we want to be able to get those schedules anywhere between $50 and $500. Okay, $500 is not the goal, but for an agency, you can still be profitable with cost per schedule at that $500 mark. But what we're really trying to do here is make sure that the offer itself and the audience that we're going to is strong enough to generate leads and generate bookings. If you're not doing those things, there is a problem with the offer. There's a problem with the ad, or there's a problem with the audience. So again, we are trying to limit those factors that we have to analyze by just simplifying the process. The definition of done, your ad should be running for 7 days and you are getting leads and you are getting bookings. You will have spent approximately $700 on this initial test. Okay. Just because we're talking about testing, it doesn't mean you're not going to be producing results, as I already mentioned. So you should be getting leads in, you should be getting bookings in, but this is really what we would say is kind of that initial testing budget that we're going to start with. In terms of the completion criteria, we're going to talk about a couple of these things today and a few of them tomorrow. But in terms of planning, relatively simple. Okay. You need your business branding. You need to be able to take payments. You need some sort of contract to be able to send to people if you're going to close them. We want to make sure if you're getting leads and they're booking and you get on a call with them, you're ready to close that lead right on the call. In terms of your offer, you need the details of your offer. You need to go through that offer creation workbook that we looked at yesterday. You need to make sure that you have all of those details planned, because likely you're getting leads and you're getting bookings and they want to know about that offer. So if you don't know how to verbally discuss that offer confidently, if you don't really know the offer yourself, then you are going to have a hard time closing people. So the offer that we would be talking to people about on this call would be that product preview offer. Does that mean that that is what the ad will focus on specifically? Not necessarily. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the copy and creative. But ultimately, no matter what type of offer you're running, you are going to be encouraging them to schedule a call after the opt-in. And that call will be to discuss your product preview offer. So make sure that you've got those details planned out. And who is that primary avatar for you? So we talked about really trying to get those two top avatars detailed yesterday. You could focus on just one of them for the offer validation ads, or as you'll see when we get into the campaign structure, you could be focused on those top two, but we really do need to know who are the top two groups of people that you are trying to target. In terms of the copy that you will need for your offer validation ads, number one, it's pretty simple. Making sure that you have detailed your offer on just a simple Google Doc or something like that. So again, it's for you personally to get more familiar with your offer itself. And it's also something that you could share if you needed to, but ultimately this is more for you than for anyone else. For your Facebook and Instagram ads, we're going to have two pieces of ad copy. When I say ad copy, I mean the written words in the ad itself. We also are going to need the copy for our lead form. It's not going to be a ton of copy, but there will be some copy involved there. I also encourage a booking page video and a thank you page video. So both of those videos are pretty short, pretty sweet. Those are designed to make sure that people understand what it is they're booking for, that they understand the simple process of scheduling that appointment, and to make sure they know what happens next. So having a strong booking page video and thank you page video will increase conversions to the schedule, and it's also going to help increase your show up rates. So a confused mind doesn't buy. We talked about that yesterday when we're talking about all of the different angles and options that people try and shove into their offer or into their ad. So we want to simplify this as much as possible so that they know every step of the way what to be prepared for. We also need to keep in mind that when we are running ads on social media, you are going to encounter a strong group of people that don't read things in detail. So we want to essentially dumb it down at every single stage. We want to make sure that it is crystal clear. If you're on this page, then you're interested in scheduling XYZ. Here's how you're going to do that. There's going to be a calendar on this page. I want you to check your calendar, make sure you know when you're available, and then pick the date and time that is best for your availability. There's going to be a short form for you to fill out after you do that. Once you've submitted that information, that call is going to be scheduled, and then we'll tell you all of the details on the next page. So it could be as simple as that. We are really just clarifying what needs to happen on the page and encouraging them to double check their own availability, because we do want to increase the show up rates to the call. If they're booking without really thinking about it, then you may have people that are in fact not available during the time they scheduled. On the thank you page video, this is something that is congratulating them for taking that step. Thanks so much for booking your initial strategy session with Allie Bloyd Media. We're really excited to speak with you. So on this page, there is going to be two links for you to be able to add this appointment to your calendar. You're also going to get a confirmation email and text message that confirms your date and time, and will also allow you to add that to your calendar. We need you to go ahead and do that right now, because we're going to be there ready and excited to speak with you. And we want to make sure that you can make that call as well. In case you have never scheduled one of these calls before, here are a couple of things you need to know. Number one, we're going to be diving into your business, really understanding the background, where you are now, what your goals are. Any details you want to prepare before that call would be greatly appreciated to help us stay on track. Please make sure that you're in a quiet environment, that you're not driving, and that you have the time to focus on this, because again, we are going to be there excited to dive into your business, and we want to make sure that it's free from distractions. If anything comes up and you need to reschedule this appointment, there's going to be a link in your calendar that will allow you to do that. If you're unable to reschedule more than 24 hours in advance, we may not allow you to rebook. We want to make sure that our time is reserved for those who are most serious about taking action. So as you can see, this is really detailing everything that's going to happen next. It's going to tell them what to prepare before that appointment, and give them just some of those, what we might consider no-brainer steps in terms of, being in a place where they can actually focus on the call. We also do want to tell them if they need to reschedule, how they're going to do it, and maybe what our policy is on people not showing up to calls and wanting to reschedule later. So those videos are usually less than 2 minutes. They can be recorded on an iPhone. They can be recorded on a webcam. They do not need to be professionally produced. They're going to be as simple as we can make them. But the most important thing is simply that they're there and that you're saying those things that I've outlined. In terms of the creative, which we're going to be talking about copy and creative in more detail, but we want to have 2 pieces of ad creative. When we say creative, that is the visual that goes along with the written piece of ad copy. We also just need to have those basic branding assets like we discussed. We want to have that booking page video recorded, uploaded, thank you page recorded and uploaded, so we can get that into the funnel. We'll go through a little bit of the conversion assets, and then we'll talk more about some of these tomorrow, like I discussed. So making sure that you have a high-level account set up, making sure that you have your sub account set up. This is where leads are going to be going into. We need to make sure that those basic settings are properly set up. The core appointment snapshot, that's the snapshot that Paulson gave those of you who, got started yesterday or upgraded your account, or who have recently upgraded and want to get this. So this is going to be everything you need to get those appointments booked and managed. This is a video that I believe he is sharing with you guys just on how to actually set up this snapshot, what goes in the custom values, and really how to configure that. So if you have not watched that, please do that before loading in the snapshot and utilizing that. Yeah, we also need to make sure, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, Allie. So those of you that are watching right now, and if today is your first day, if you stay through the whole entire call, towards the end of the call, we made a simple offer, and we'll do that again today. And the offer is only valid while the workshop is happening. And basically what we're going to do is set this all up for you. So I see a few people like screenshooting and saving and recording with their devices. All these assets are going to be provided to you. And I'll show you how you can grab all that towards the end of the call. So stay through it. And again, if you don't have access to commenting in the Zoom, that's intentional. Go to the Facebook group streaming for day 2, and we're monitoring all the comments there. And we're excited to just kind of share with you. And we'll do a Q&A towards the end of this call as well to kind of unpack some of these things. Allie, on some of the things that you just shared, I like the idea of having videos as a over the fence method to move the traffic forward, right? What and do you see that like a selfie video works better, or is it like a big production? And I assume these are housed in a landing page after the traffic is basically identified. Is that right?
Yes. They are. So you could do a selfie style video. I do encourage this to be a horizontal video because it will be on the page. It looks better if it's horizontal, but it could be done on a webcam, could be shot on an iPhone, does not need to be any sort of fancy production. Definitely having subtitles on any video is recommended because people are often on social media with the sound off. So let's say they're sitting in a meeting, perhaps, which often happens. Okay. They're going to be scrolling. Maybe they opt in, they go to the next page. They may not be able to play that video with the sound on right then. But if you have those subtitles, they're still going to be able to read through that, and they'll be able to understand exactly what you need them to understand to know if this is the best next step for them.
Got it. Okay, cool.
So the other basic assets you need to have set up are your Facebook business page. Okay. If you want to run ads on Instagram as well, which I strongly recommend, you don't have to have an Instagram business profile. If you do not have an Instagram business profile, then it's going to run the ad from the same name as the Facebook page. The only real difference is if they tried to click on your profile in Instagram, they wouldn't be able to. So if you do have an Instagram business profile, you can add that into Facebook Business Manager, and then that profile will be the profile that your Instagram ads are running from. So they technically can be running from two separate places. It's all done within the same ad. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But if you want to get an Instagram business page set up, you can do that, but it's not necessary to be able to run ads there. We also need our lead form set up and integrated with High Level. So we'll talk more about the lead form tomorrow. The integration is done in the integrations tab of your sub account. There's a Facebook form fields mapping section. That's how we're going to connect that. We also need, let's say, Google or Outlook integration for your calendars. So if you're trying to pull from your existing availability or your team's existing availability, I definitely recommend a Google Calendar, or if you use Outlook, an Outlook calendar. This is just, in my opinion, going to make sure that your availability is more up to date, because people have appointments and doctor's appointments and personal things that are not necessarily going to be booked in High Level that you need people to work around. We mentioned before, what happens if somebody else wants to reschedule? Well, we also want to make sure that we're not the ones that need to reschedule them, because if that happens, you are decreasing the chances that that person is going to get on the phone with you. So do not do that unless it is 100% required. So just make sure your own availability is up to date.
Real quick, Allie.
Yeah.
So I see a few people that are asking in the comments what exactly a snapshot is. And I assume these are folks that don't even have a High Level account, perhaps. Can you explain what a snapshot is and how it works? Because as you kind of, detail out what's in your snapshot, people are a little confused of what exactly even a snapshot is.
Yes, for sure. So snapshots are one of my favorite parts of High Level. This has been a game changer for me. If you are in SaaS or thinking about getting into SaaS, if you're an agency or thinking about getting into agency, snapshots will be one of your best friends. This is the ability to build out a High Level sub account with whatever you want to go in it. So that could be funnels, forms, surveys, workflows and automations, email campaigns, text campaigns, even social media posts and email broadcasts. Whatever you want to be in that account, you would put in that account. And then you can essentially create a copy of that account and share it with a link. So this account that you are going to be loading in, if you get this snapshot, this is called the Core Appointment Snapshot. This is the foundation of virtually all of my other snapshots, at least those that are appointment related. So this is the first thing that I request my students load in. We want to make sure that this foundation is there. And then we've got dozens of other snapshots that are for different strategies, different industries, different business models. So I've been able to build those out one time, perfect those, and then now I can share those with people with a simple link so that when they load it in, they've got everything already set up. They don't have to build out the funnels. They don't have to build out the workflows. They don't have to strategically think about how to tie all these pieces together. It can be done for you. So if you're an agency, you can focus one snapshot on that niche or that avatar that we talked about. You can get that as perfect as you want. And then the next time you sign an agency client, load in that snapshot into their sub account and they're almost ready to go. You need to switch out the branding and things like that. Custom values is a big part of all my snapshots. This is basically a little snippet of code that you can update. And with whatever you update, it's going to be auto-filled into every place where that code snippet was used. So it's a huge time saver. You'll see that if you go through the Core Appointment Snapshot video. I'll tell you what the custom values mean, what you need to put in those. That's the same thing that you can do for your clients or your SaaS users. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it, creating forms that will update those custom values for them. And, it's a faster way to get your clients, students, SaaS users onboarded and give them something to start with, as opposed to throwing them into high level and either you building it all out yourself, which is not necessary if you've already done it the first time, or expecting them, who is a brand new SaaS user, to figure out how to do all of this themselves. You're going to have a really hard time getting them to use it or use it effectively. And that's the goal, is to get people to use these things in the most effective way possible, because that's how you keep your agency clients. That's how you keep your SaaS users. So Snapshots is an amazing feature that has saved me so much time. It has saved my students and my clients so much time. And it also is going to increase its effectiveness, because if you can do this right one time, that every time that's loaded in, you don't have to worry about the potential chance of user error. There's still always going to be some chance of user error, but in terms of, even if you had to build this out manually every single time, you're human. You're going to overlook things. You're going to forget things. So this is really something that will eliminate a lot of the technical issues that can come into play and just simplify everything for you and for your clients.
Absolutely. And I've heard this few different ways as well. Like the way to explain what high level really is, internally, here's what I use as an analogy. This is like a Lego land. If you remember playing with Legos as a child, it's like a Lego land. You can create your own colors, you can create your own shapes, you can create your own format, big, small, it doesn't matter. You can create so many different things with all the automation features we have. We have hundreds and hundreds of features. You can isolate, you can take individual features and combine them up together. And then what SaaS means is that you can debrand those features from high level to your own and go sell them as subscriptions and keep 100% of the revenue. And for you to do that, snapshots are like these skeletons or like blueprints that you can create a framework with. Once you've created that framework, you can just duplicate, distribute, copy, or download from someone else, and it's forever distributable in that sense. But anyways, I didn't mean to take you off your train of thought here, but let's go through traffic and some of the things around the workflows.
Yeah, for sure. So funnel pages. In the snapshot that you will receive, there are 2 appointment funnels in there. So this is where we would be driving the traffic to after the lead form. So again, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. I don't want to, get you confused, but these are the funnels that you would need to customize. Really, you just need one of them. So these are based on the length of the call time. There's going to be an initial call, which is set by default to 15 minutes. That's more of like that pre-qualification call or discovery call, or a consultation. Okay, the consultation is by default set to 45 minutes. You can make that length of time whatever you need to make it. This could be for a Zoom meeting, could be for a phone call, could be for an in-person meeting. This is your sales appointment, whatever that looks like to you. So choose the one that's the best fit for what you're doing. I will kind of give you a note that if you are newer in sales, the initial 15-minute call may be the best fit for you. That's going to allow you to kind of get the basic info that you need from someone, and just in that conversation, identify what those potential objections might be when you get them to that next call, and just make sure that they are in fact a fit for that next call. So it's going to save them time. It's going to save you time. It's going to help you establish that rapport right off the bat. And then when you get on that second call with them, it's going to be a lot warmer. You're going to feel a lot better because you already have this background. You've already spoken with them. So just something to keep in mind, that 15-minute call can be a great first step for those that are newer in sales. It's a great way to help you get warmed up. So we need to make sure that one of those 2 funnels is set up with your branding, that booking page video is inserted, that thank you page video is inserted. Ultimately, they're pretty light on copy, so there's not much else that you need to do there. We also do need to make sure that we've got our Facebook pixel, which we'll talk more about tomorrow, in the funnels, and that your SEO metadata and those basic page settings have just been updated to fit your branding. There's also going to be workflows inside that account. All of those things are going to be covered in the video. You need to make sure that those have been reviewed, that those have been published, and that they're ready to go so that if someone's ready to book that call, they're able to book that call. So we just want to make sure that the back end is set up before we start trying to drive traffic. That's a big mistake a lot of people make. They want to hop into the ads before they've got the back end done. And if you do that, you're going to waste a lot of money. You are not going to have the data that you want, and you're not going to see the results that you want. So we're going to dive into the traffic tab tomorrow, but these are the basics of what we need to understand about what an offer validation ad is, why we're doing it this way, how it works, what you need to be looking for, and those copy and creative elements that you need to have in place in order to effectively launch this. So we will definitely take questions on this at the end, but let's go ahead and hop into the copy and creative elements. So I've already told you, you guys are going to need 2 pieces of copy, 2 pieces of creative. So what do those pieces of copy and creative actually need to look like? How are we going to set up an ad that's going to capture people's attention and get them to convert? So I call this the anatomy of a successful ad. There's several things that we want to make sure that we have in every single ad that we're putting up. Number 1, we need scroll stopping creative. We'll talk about what that type of scroll stopping creative could look like. Headline, creative, and offer synergy. Okay, we want to make sure that everything flows well together, that you don't have a headline that's really removed from what you're talking about in the copy, and that the creative of the ad ties well into those headline and ad copy elements. We also want to keep in mind that about 80% typically of people on social media are scrolling on mobile. So you need to make sure that the way your ad looks on mobile has been checked, that it's been thought through, and we need the most important elements of the headline, or ideally the whole headline, to show up on mobile. We also want to make sure that the intro lines of your ad copy are showing up in the way that we want on mobile as well. We need a clear call to action. We need to tell them what to do next. And then we're also going to have, it's called a link description. I call this the sub headline. So it's a supporting piece that's going to show up on some placements right underneath that headline. We also want to decide, are we going to use a button or are we not going to have a button? You do need a button with the offer validation ads if we're using instant forms, but we need to make sure that that button text is also congruent with the next step. So there are different button texts such as learn more, sign up, book now, get quote, get offer, download, things like that. We want to make sure that whatever that offer is and what we're asking them to do next does make sense with the button text. We talked a little bit about the AB3 framework yesterday. We're not going to go into detail with that. That's a whole nother presentation, but you do want to know, is this ad designed for education, awareness, and audience building, or is this ad designed to generate leads? Those are 2 different types of ads. We encourage people to use them both, but what we're focused on is what we'd call a level 2 ad. This is focused on your offer. So you just want to make sure that it's structured in that way. Needs to speak directly to the audience, which we'll talk about when we get into the copy, and that we send them to the right destination. So in this example for the offer validation ad, we're going to be using the lead form first.
Yeah. Real quick,
yeah.
Allie. So I know Facebook and Instagram are really the great platforms that you love testing these creatives on. Do you put together different styles of creatives for Instagram versus YouTube? I'm sorry, Facebook, or do you just use the same exact creative for both Instagram and Facebook?
Typically, we're using the same creative, but we might have the vertical view of the creative for stories and reels placements. We might have those just formatted differently. So you can use the exact same creative in all placements, but you just need to take a look at how it shows up in those placements. And if you feel like it's not right, then you can actually upload a separate piece of creative in that exact same ad that will just show up slightly differently in those more vertical placements. But ideally, the goal is to create ad creative that you really don't have to do a ton of different variations for. So again, we're focused on keeping things simple right now. So don't overthink some of this as we go through the different types of ads that you might be creating. Find the option that's going to be easiest for you and then move forward from there. Because if you find that this is too difficult to even get started with, you're not going to continue. You're not going to see the results that you could see. You're not going to take the time to optimize moving forward. So just, again, start with simple, and then we're going to layer on complexity as we move through those different phases after we've gotten the offer validation ad up, tested, and things are looking good. So in terms of the different creative formats, we do want some sort of pattern interrupt. Okay. The way that we can do that is different. The alternative to that is actually something that feels really organic. So we say blend in to stand out. You have to keep in mind that these are social media platforms. What are people seeing on social media? They're seeing the types of organic content that they follow or that would show up in their feed. Sometimes people intentionally scroll past ads because they know it's an ad. So we have these two different options, either one, something that really stands out, or number two, something that actually blends in very well. That's where the ad copy is really going to come into play, but both of those options can work. We also want to try to showcase the transformation if possible. So depending on what it is you do, the results you've already produced, showing some sort of transformation. So we talked about that yesterday when we went through the avatar. What does that before and after state look like? How can we creatively showcase that? If possible, build credibility. So not everybody's going to be able to do this. If you're just getting started, you may not have client results. You may not have any of this that you've done. If that's the case, that's fine. Just move on. But if you're somebody who does have these sort of assets, then those are also great options to use. User-generated content is another option that you could utilize, again, depending on what type of user-generated content you have. And you could also consider something that might showcase the options. So these are either or. It does not have to be all of them at once. And then here are some of the types of creative formats that we could be looking at. So this is a single image. That's it. It's just an image. It was on my camera roll. I encourage people to look through their camera roll to identify images that could be good for ads. It may not be anything directly tied to business. Okay. Does not have to be professional headshots. Does not have to be a photo of speaking events. It could be a photo of you doing something that you really love doing. It could be a photo of you kind of, in the field, so to speak, like working with clients. It could be more of a family related photo. So lots of different types of photos. Work travel photos can was scrolling on social media that this photo would catch their eye. So I've used photos of myself on vacation. I've used different, just personal fun photos that were never taken for ads, but you just go and you look through what you've already got, something that showcases your personality. And again, you just want it to stand out in some way.
Real quick, Allie. So can you help me tie these creative formats to the offer types you talked about yesterday, the loss leader, those three that you had mentioned, right? Because I do know they need to somehow sing the same song, and I'm trying to connect the dots here.
Yes. So in fact, the creative can be a little bit more removed from the offer. Not necessarily. We'll take a look at some of these other formats and you'll see some of the examples that I put together, but the copy is really what is going to detail what we're talking. The creative itself is designed first and foremost to get someone to stop scrolling. If they do not stop scrolling, they will never read your copy. They will never click. They will never opt in. They will never schedule. So we have to be able to simply stop the scroll before anything else matters. So we can mix in details about the offer on the creative. Again, we'll take a look at some of those things now. But the copy is the thing that will get them to convert. So we say creative stops the scroll, copy converts. Ideally, they should have synergy, like we mentioned, but that doesn't mean that you have to detail everything about your offer in the creative.
Got it. I think that's a big point because a lot of people get stuck on figuring out, okay, do I go with my lead magnet and I only talk about my lead magnet? And then they forget to share the personality. Because, like, I've seen some of your paid advertising, there's family pictures, there's master classes, there's vacation stuff, there's like high level integrated, almost like Loom videos. I mean, there's a lot of different ranges on the creativity. So I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, we will talk a little bit more about, kind of where your offer comes into play when we move into the copy section. But interestingly enough, I've used some of my ad copy templates for multiple offers. The only real difference at the end of the day is the call to action at the end. So if you find a great piece of copy, you can use this for different offers. I've used some for gated content, for loss leader, and product preview. So this one right here, some of you may have seen an ad or multiple ads using this piece of copy. I call this the day in the life. Okay. This is something that really, really resonates with a group of my avatars because they see themselves in it. They see their pain points and their struggles. So the copy on the image says local marketing mastery. So this specific ad is focused on local marketing mastery, which is my group coaching program. So this is a good example of just adding some text to a static image. We also can get a little bit more fun. So I love using like Bitmoji images in my ad creative. And this is something that, again, it stands out on the feed. It looks different than what people are seeing every day. So get creative with this. Like Paulson mentioned, insert your personality here. People are not looking to work with somebody that only gets the result. The result is important, but in today's world, there are so many options for a business owner or for anybody who's looking for a product and service of who they could work with, who they could buy from. They want to work with somebody that they like. Whether or not you are going to be having tons of direct contact with them doesn't actually matter, but really focusing on trying to build a personal brand. This is not just about the product. This is about who they're buying it from. So have fun, whatever that looks like to you, just get creative with it. You can also do something that we would call an in-your-face piece of ad creative. This is literally just text on a background, and we're asking them the question. I've used this for my own offers. I've had my students use this for their offers, things that are completely unrelated to what I do. It can work very well because if you're trying to attract someone for something specific and you don't have a lot of time to get their attention, because again, people are scrolling, they're not always really focused on every single thing they're seeing. We've got to get their attention. If they have the problem, if they have the desire or the goal, whatever it is that we're focusing on, we can just put it out there in their face and you will see great results with this type of creative. This is another style that I really like to do. I call it an animated image or an animated video. So this is using a static image with moving elements. So in this specific one, this is an illustrated background. And then the background is actually a moving video. It's got little social media comments, likes, hearts that are just moving through the screen. And then it's just a static image of me standing on the street. So this is, again, a great pattern interrupt because you don't see things like this very much. I do find that the moving elements work very, very well to capture attention.
Yeah, Allie, what you said earlier resonated with me really well, which was the creatives are supposed to stop the scroll and the copy is supposed to convert the customer, right?
Yep.
And I think that's the differentiation most people have to really look at separately when they build copy versus creative. They're not supposed to be all blended all together. They have two different purposes in a sense.
Definitely. So with the static image with graphics, it's pretty similar to this style, but this might be something that's not moving. So this is just a graphic background with an image that's cut out. You can do this very, very easily in Canva. Take an image, use the background remover tool, and then pull one of their animated videos or their graphics as the background. There's so many pieces of creative just in Canva that you can utilize with this. So it's really fast and easy to create. You no longer need to be a Photoshop whiz to be able to cut yourself out. You can do it in seconds. So it is really something that anybody can do. And again, it is going to stand out in a much bigger way on the newsfeed. We can also do videos. So videos are a great creative format. They are very easy on a technical level to create. I do not recommend high production value. Shot from your phone is fine, or shot from a webcam is just fine. The most important thing is what you're saying in the video. So because of that, it can be tough for people to start with video ads. Not everybody is super comfortable on camera yet. Not everybody feels like they've got a great, easy way to deliver their message, and anybody can learn. So I recommend getting started, because if you never get started, you're never going to get better. But this is not something that you have to start with. Image ads can work just fine, and in some cases outperform video ads, because again, you're taking these other variables into account. What's the energy of the person like that's delivering the video? What are they saying in the video? Are there a lot of is there a lot of fluff in what they're saying, or are they straight to the point the whole time to capture someone's attention? So if you try and start with video ads too soon, you're introducing additional variables that we will have to then analyze in terms of the results. So keep it simple on your next campaign or your first campaign. Start with something like what we just talked about, these static images with the graphics, the in your face, something like this. It does not have to be video. However, if you are somebody who enjoys video, who's comfortable on video, this is a great creative format. Again, we need to make sure we're speaking to the right audience. The first 5 seconds are crucial. Do not spend that 5 seconds introducing yourself. Nobody cares about you until they care about what you can do for them. So make sure that you are using that intro section to really tell this person on the other end why they need to stay and listen to the rest of this. So in this specific video, this was me with just a flipboard outlining one of the specific offers. So this is for remodelers. So again, I focus on local. This was one of the niches that I had tons of experience in. And so I had many campaigns that were running specific for remodelers. So having this square format, colored background, and a headline on top of the video with the horizontal video, that is the style that you really want to try and utilize. Make sure again that you have subtitles on that video, because people will be scrolling without the sound on. You can also use more of like an Instagram Reels or TikTok style video. If you do this, you do need to make sure that that video will still look good in that square format, because you're not going to be running it in that vertical orientation on the news feeds. So it's going to ask you to crop that video when you're loading it in. So you need to make sure if there's text on that video, that it stays within that square, that no important elements are cut out. So we just took a look at that day in the life ad copy earlier. This is a video that is the day in the life ad copy, but in video format. So this is something that as you move forward, you can test these things out. If you find something that works, test it in a lot of different mediums, test it in a lot of different formats if possible. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. But if you do have organic content that has already performed well for you, that's a great place to start. Just because a piece of content has performed well organically doesn't mean it'll be a great ad, because the question about organic is, are you getting comments? Are you getting likes? Are you getting followers? It's not really what we care about with our ad. We're about getting leads, appointments, clients, sales. Okay, so the objective of that piece of content could have been very different than what you want, but it can be a great place to start in terms of what's resonating with your audience. So if you have been doing organic, take a look there before you try and go in a totally different direction. You can also do carousel ads. So carousels can be done with images or videos. This is really just a kind of a series of slides that they will be able to scroll through. So for some businesses, carousels are a natural fit. For others, you may just test that out at some point. You don't have to start there. The downside of carousels is that the creative itself is smaller. So if you take a look at this versus this, you can see that the actual creative is a smaller format, which means it's going to take up less space on the newsfeed. And if you do that, somebody else's post or somebody else's ad is going to be in that frame when they're scrolling. Whereas if you have something that takes up more space, your ad will be front and center on their phone if they're scrolling on mobile. Do carousel with video. So I've done different video carousels, focusing on different things. So this is oftentimes something I might do with what we would call a level 3 ad. So that's testimonials, have testimonial videos in each one of these little carousel frames. Or if you're selling SaaS, focus on one problem or one feature per carousel slide. Boomerangs are another option that can work really well. If you guys aren't familiar with boomerangs, it's basically just like this little looping video. They have that feature directly in Instagram, and there is a boomerang app that you can create those with. So again, you're not really telling them much. They're like 4-second videos. The whole point is to just pattern interrupt and get them to stop the scroll. And then the final style would be like a text on screen video. Maybe it's B-roll with words on top. Going back to what I mentioned with video creative in general, this can be good, but what you are saying on that text on screen will have a huge impact on how that ad performs and the B-roll that you're using and how quickly it's moving through those different pieces of text on the screen. So you're just introducing additional variables into the creative that you're going to have to analyze. And so I don't necessarily recommend starting with that unless you've already gotten some proven text on screen style videos that have worked well for you. Then you can say, okay, I already know this works as a concept. Now let's test this out as an ad.
So Allie, I want to share a few things here before we get off of the concept of putting together creatives. So those of you that are building a SaaS agency, and I know a lot of high levelers build a software company, versus those of you that are doing regular marketing services. One of the things that I've observed from, I don't know if you know this, but the 5-day challenge that High Level does, we do a 5-day challenge every other week. So you can jump in and learn how to get your own first customer that's paying you. We also do the SaaSpreneur course where we'll teach you how to launch your SaaS. But either way, a lot of folks have been running ads that are education based around their software. So what they would do is record a demo and then turn around and use clips of that demo as creatives for their ads, right? So they'll basically say, hey, I have a plumbing CRM. Here's what the best way to automate a plumber's business, right? And sorry, my lawnmower guy is like literally right outside in my window. But either way, consider creating educational piece of content around your software solution that helps you create like a 1-minute clip it of like, hey, here's the best workflow that a plumber should have every single month. Hey, here's a quick appointment setter calendar system that we've created for plumbers. So what that does is when you do get on a scheduled call with them or appointment with them, they kind of are familiar with the platform. They're kind of familiar with some of the features you have or solutions you have. And I teach the Trojan horse method. So we lead with one offer only, and we talk about that one feature. But either way, when you do demo-based creatives, it allows you to have a softer sale because they're already kind of, in a sense, aware of the features that you are going to sell. And that's something that I just wanted to share with a lot of the SaaSpreneurs on the call. Get creative with the demos themselves and chop them up into small videos and snippets, because you will be so surprised how much content is there when you do a 10-15-minute demo. Go ahead, Allie.
Yeah, no, I think that's really great. So the educational videos for us in the ad strategy usually falls in level 1. We can use those exact clips like you were talking about for level 2, which again, level 2 is what we're focused on. I don't want to get too in the weeds on some of these things, but we do want to make sure it speaks directly to the audience. Again, really focusing on that avatar. focuses on the specific offer, because these are offer focused ads, has a strong call to action. And I recommend Veed.io for editing. You can use things like Descript as well, but Veed's a great one, really easy to use, really inexpensive. And we just want this same format, that colored background, text on top, and subtitles as the format for those videos. So we'll just skip over level 1 and level 3 right now, and we're going to dive into the ad copy elements. So similar to what we talked about with ad creative elements, we're going to have primary text. That is the main ad copy for the ad. We have what's called a top line headline. That is simply the first line of your text in the ad copy. This is something that on mobile, most people will only see that first line before there's that little read more or see more button. So if that first line does not hook them, they will not click read more, and you will not be able to convert them. So it's really important that that first line of your text is well thought out. We're also going to have a main headline that's going to be below the creative. So if we look down at this ad again, this is the top line headline right here. This is the main headline right there. And then you can't see this because it's on mobile, but there is a newsfeed link description that will be right underneath that headline on desktop placements and on other placements. So we can't use that subheadline or newsfeed link description as a critical piece of the copy, because not everybody's going to see it. But we do want to use that as our supporting subheadline on any of the placements where it will be seen. So again, this needs to support that headline. So there are different types of ad copy. Some people might find that they really fit well with a certain category. I test out all of these, but you do not have to. You could pick one, and that is kind of like your bread and butter type of ad copy, and you can focus on getting really, really good at that. So direct promotion. That is super straightforward. We're saying, hey, if this is you and you need this, then here's what I've got for you. Here's what I've been able to do for other people in your industry. Here's how I know it works. Here's our guarantee, and click the button to learn more. Okay, that's very direct promotion copy. And that type of copy can work very well. It does not need to be super creative in terms of what you're saying. It does need to be well thought out and have the right structure, but you don't need to do a bunch of, crazy things to make your ad copy strong. You do need to be clear and succinct and talk about the things that really matter to people. So we'll talk about the bullet point frameworks. Those are really important, the headline frameworks, but that's direct promotion. Problems and solutions is another style. You're going to open with the problem, you're going to detail the problem, and you're going to lead them to the solution. It also could be emotional. So storytelling based copy is great for an emotional hook. Like we talked about yesterday, business owners, what happens in their business directly impacts their personal life. Okay. This problem that they're dealing with is emotional on some level. Most marketers never really tap into that. And if you can effectively tap into that, you will see a great conversion rate on your ads. So if storytelling is not your forte, that's fine. Don't pick that one. But if you are a natural storyteller, this is a great type of copy to utilize. You can also do funny. Not everybody's funny. If you're not naturally funny, don't go there. But if you feel like, hey, I know how to write funny copy, this can be great. It's another pattern interrupt because most people aren't running humorous ads. Another one is focused on the big benefit. So you're starting off with that big benefit, and then you're kind of leading them through those problems and solutions later on. And then another option would be logical. So an example of a logical ad might be if you're using this program and this program and this program, you're probably paying this much per month. If you could reduce your software cost to this much per month, you'd be saving this much per month and this much per year. Where could you use that money in your business? Would it be on increased marketing? Would it be hiring another team member? Would it be products and supplies and infrastructure? if you're spending this money, you are pulling it away from other areas of your business. You need to find a solution that gives you what you need and more at a less expensive cost. Here's what I've got for you. Okay, that's logical. You're walking them through a math problem. So people buy from logic and emotion. Those really are the two different ways that people buy. Emotion is actually more tied to conversions than logic typically is, but they both can be really, really great structures. So what do you want to include? You need to understand the why. Why should they care? Okay. Like I just mentioned, nobody cares about you until they care about what you can do for them. They need to understand the why. You want to make sure it speaks to the right audience temperature. So we're just talking about cold traffic right now. So you need to know that these people don't know anything about you or what you're doing. You cannot speak to them as if they have all of this knowledge that they simply don't have, or that we just can't confirm that they have. So really simplifying it, making sure that you are, like I said, kind of dumbing it down and not overestimating the audience's knowledge on any specific topic. Because after working with thousands of small business owners, I can tell you, a lot of them don't understand the basics. They really don't. And you can't assume that they're going to. So if you're putting in that industry jargon and things like that, they're just going to keep scrolling. So really simplify. Speak to the right avatar, strong top line headline, show transformation, try and overcome objections in the copy. You'll get fewer objections down the road. Make sure this is focused more on them than it is on you. Again, they don't care about you right now. They care about the outcome you can provide to them, and then tell them exactly what to do next. One call to action. You're not saying, click here to get this download, but if you want to schedule a call, click here. And if you want to check out this offer, click here. One simple call to action. And I recommend that you don't put a phone number and a link and tell them to comment and things like that. So it's not even just about one call to action. Give them one simple direction, which really should be to click the button. Because if you are getting calls, inbound calls, I just don't recommend it. You can have a call tracking number for those specific platforms, but if somebody calls and you don't answer, you may not know really anything about them. You might have their phone number, but we want them to fill out the form first. We want to be able to get that contact info first, because if they don't take the next step, then we still have a way to reach out to them. So here are some ad copy frameworks that you guys can take a look at. Okay. So we've got problem, solution. All right. This is the framework. What's the problem? What's the problem with the problem? What's the problem if they don't solve it? What's the solution to the problem? What's proof you've helped others with this? And what's the next step? Okay, so this is an example of that style of copy. So with this, what's proof you've helped others with this? So there may be people in here that actually don't have proof that they've helped others with this. If you are focusing on SaaS, you actually do have proof. Okay. High Level itself has helped so many people. High Level has worked for so many people. So you know that the system itself works. Okay. That's something that I really want you to focus on. You may not have a ton of people in your SaaS just yet, but the solution that you're selling has plenty of social proof. On the agency side, it would be great if there are other people that you have helped. Okay. It doesn't have to be a ton, but it really is important, I think personally, to be ethical in everything that we're doing. And we don't want to make up case studies and results and things like that. Even if you have one example is all you need. Okay, let's say that you've been in marketing. So think about where I was before I started my business. I was a marketing director. I hadn't served a bunch of clients yet, but I had made an impact in the businesses that I was working for. That's fine too. Or maybe it's something that you've done for yourself. It is better if it's aimed at, another person that you've helped, but whatever proof you have, however small, this is what we need to focus on. And as you grow, as you get more clients, you're going to start to have a lot more social proof for your own business, but just keep that in mind. You don't need to fabricate anything, but you also don't want to skip over this step. You want to put something in here that will show them that this is something that can work for other people. And then again, what's that next step? And that's going to be where we're leading them to the offer. So all of the ad copy frameworks in here, as I mentioned, they can be used for a lot of different types of offers, whether that is gated content, loss leader, or product preview, they can work. You just need to know before you're writing this, what offer are you focused on, and make sure that the copy is resonating with that offer, that you're talking about it. So this one specifically is talking about local marketing mastery, but I have used this same copy for 5-day challenges. Okay. So again, everything is just switching out the variables. So what's the solution to problem? I would say that's why I created the local lead generation challenge. Okay. So all it is just taking the format and shifting the copy to fit the specific offer. We've also got the day in the life ad copy. So that was something I mentioned before. This is a great style of copy to use. You really need to know what your audience does on a daily basis, because if you don't, you're going to get into this and it's not going to resonate with them. So make sure that you've done that research on the avatar. So then we get down to this call to action section. Or you can watch my free training designed for local businesses and marketers. Okay. I've also used this for 5-day challenges. I've also used this for my $47 master classes. So we just say, or you can get my $47 local lead generation masterclass teaching you how to get consistent leads. Okay. So it doesn't matter what the offer is necessary. It does matter, but it doesn't matter what the ad was originally created for. You can test these things for different offers, but right now, just focus on that first offer. So we also have the story lesson copy. This is another one I've used over and over. Let's travel back in time to XYZ. You're taking them through a story. All of those things that we talked about in terms of what ad copy should have, it's in this copy. So then we get to the introducing section. Introducing, insert offer, insert details about offer. Okay. Call to action, sign up for my free 5-day challenge. So I've used so many of these in so many different formats and different industries with my clients and students. These are really, really, really great to be able to just kind of plug and play in your business. So we've got direct promotion. There's a lot of different ones here that you guys can take a look at. This is a really great one for lead magnets. So still haven't insert whatever your audience is looking to accomplish. You're talking about your own journey. Now you're saying, I've decided to give it all away for free. Here's what you're going to get. So we're doing an offer stack. This is my Facebook ads ultimate jumpstart pack. This is super value packed. Okay. You want to make sure that they understand what is in it. And again, why does it matter to them? And then we've got that call to action. As you can see here, the headline is super simple: free ad checklist pack. The sub headline or newsfeed link description, 8 simple ad checklist free. Okay. So we do not need to get super crazy with our headlines. We need the headline to really tell them what this is all about.
Allie, real quick.
Yeah.
So I know for those of you that are staying through, we're going to have a bonus towards the end of the call. So stay through, don't miss out. But Allie, quick question. I know you had mentioned at least have like a $700 to $1,000 budget, especially if you're like brand new trying to test this out. And I see all the different copy options that you're providing. Yep. Are there like 2 or 3 that you just absolutely love, even though you're providing a ton of options? Or do you want us to test all of them out? I don't know, maybe like with the $5 budget and see out of $1,000 I spend, which one works better? Like, what is your testing format?
Yes. So we only need 2. Okay. We need 2 pieces of copy. These are examples. You do not need to use all of them, and you definitely are not going to use all of them anytime soon. But you want to find the copy that works best for you. So this is, again, a great one for gated content, but this is also a great one for something like SaaS or a tripwire offer. So I really like this one. Again, I've used all of these. These are all great pieces of copy. This is a good one as well. I mean, it really comes down to what do you feel like resonates the most with you and your offer. This is a fun one. This could definitely be used for agency and SaaS. This is a this versus that. So we're just highlighting different options and showing that you would always choose something else. So again, I've used this for local businesses, multiple industries, and it can also be used for agency and SaaS. But we're just saying, is there really anything you like to give up from your busy schedule to insert whatever it is they're doing manually, which, as we know with SaaS, there's going to be a ton of things that you're going to be able to save them from. Okay. So again, 2 pieces of copy, but go through them, see what works best for you, and just pick those first 2. Does not need to be overly complicated. If you've got a good testimonial, this one can be a good one, but it's really more of a storytelling format. So just 2 pieces of copy, 2 pieces of creative. That's all we're focused on. Look at the options, see what resonates, but at the end of the day, don't go crazy on this. You don't need to write 100 pieces of copy. Focus on 2. Focus on really making those 2 your best foot forward, and then we're going to test them. So here are some headline frameworks that you can use. How to get blank, insert results, super simple and to the point. How to get blank in as little as blank, 5 quick and easy ways to blank. The secret to blank and blank. So all of these are really just fill in the blank style. Direct question works very well. That could be, do you want to see if you qualify? Another one could be, are you tired of overpaying for your CRM? Or are you tired of stressing about leads every month? Whatever it is, human beings are designed to internally respond to a question. So questions are always really, really great. And then making it clear what this is. So like I mentioned in this piece of copy here, this is the headline, free ad checklist pack. We're just giving them a straightforward description of what it is. Okay. There is this one right here, insert offer formats. That'd be checklist pack. And then it's insert offer title, Facebook ads ultimate jumpstart pack. Here's an example, free video, how to scale to 7 figures as an info business. So whatever that is for you, again, we're picking 2. We're not doing all of them. You pick those 2 and you move on. For bullet points, if any of your ad copy or landing pages in the future, because again, we're starting with lead forms, we're keeping it simple. Bullet points are really important. They help to summarize the content. They also can give people a preview of what's included or what they'll learn, can list those benefits, gives them a reason to keep reading. Anytime you can summarize things in bullet points, this can work really well because a lot of people are somewhat lazy readers, we'll say, and they don't want to read through fat chunks of paragraphs. They want something that's easy to scan. So bullet points give people that easy way to scan. So an example of the format that you should be using is feature plus benefit plus what's in it for them. Again, everything you focus on should be with the mindset of what's in it for them. If I read through this as if I'm my avatar, do I know what's in it for me? Do I know why I should care? If not, you need to keep working on that. So here's an example. The feature might be 2-day turnaround. Okay. A lot of people would just leave it at this 2-day turnaround. The benefit is get your results faster, but what's in it for them? So you can get the answers you need to solve this problem without the wait. Okay, so really try and use that structure whenever you're using bullet points because they will pack a much greater punch than simply listing the feature. If you are doing a breakdown, put that value. What is the value, but you're giving it away for free, or you're giving it away for a significantly reduced cost in terms of what that value truly is. So these are the basics of what you should know about ad creative, the different styles. Again, I want you to keep it simple. Focusing on 2 images for most of you is what you should be doing. If you are pretty experienced with video, give that a try, but it is just going to introduce additional complexity. For your ad copy, just 2 pieces. We just need to make sure that this is speaking to the right person. It's doing a good job of getting them to keep reading, establishing those problems and those solutions, and telling them very simply and clearly what they need to do next. So as we're talking about this, I want to make sure that everyone understands the concept that everything you do is simply selling the next step. Okay. You do not need to sell your entire business or your entire offer necessarily in the ad copy. If it's a gated content offer, yes, you need to technically sell them on that, but that's not your whole business. That's not your whole offer. That's the initial starting point. Same thing with the tripwire. You can do a little bit more in the product preview ads, but you're still just selling them on the next step, which is that discovery call, strategy call, demo, whatever that might be, that estimate. Okay. So your ad copy is selling them on the click. Okay. Your click and that destination right now for you, it's going to be the lead form, is selling them on opting in. After they opt in, you're selling them on the call. After they schedule the call, you're selling them on why they want to show up to the call. On the call is where you are selling them on anything else. Okay. So do not try and shove everything about your business in the ad. Just keep in mind, I'm selling them on the next step. I'm selling them on the next step, because if you never get them to take the first step, which is the click, you will never get them to take the additional steps. I would rather have somebody opt in and not schedule than not opt in at all because I'm overwhelming them or they don't think they need everything that we're putting in the ad copy. If you're generating a lead, that is an opportunity to sell. That person might schedule right away. They might schedule 3 months from now. I've had people that have taken 2 years to opt in and then go through different processes on the back end to the point where they're finally ready to move forward. So looking at every single person as an opportunity to sell and make an impact ultimately, which is what we want to do, is the way to perceive it. And with that, you're going to focus more on how can I get more people moving from left to right? It's just like in your pipeline. They're starting here. We want to keep going through every stage until we get that desired result. So hopefully this was beneficial to everybody today. If we're going to open up some Q&A, I think
Yeah, let's
that's
do
all
it.
I got for us.
So yeah, there's a lot of info here that took years to map out and throw it into some slides. Okay, so I can tell you from one personal experience of building 3 different agencies, as well as Allie's experience of building multiple businesses, these things are not just randomly, they're not concepts or theories that neither of us have ever actually built out and taken action and put a lot of ammo of advertising budget behind these strategies. So take it with a grain of salt. I want you to test out different advertising strategies. And here's what I'll tell you, and I said this yesterday. If you don't have organic traction, just because you turn on paid advertising doesn't mean that's going to build your business. If you have some sort of organic flow, build on that momentum. Pay attention to how people are purchasing from you organically. And more than likely, you can run some advertising campaigns behind that process, and you'll have some great starting points. So those of you that stayed through the entire workshop so far for day 2, again, tomorrow is the last day. I want to share my screen with you and tell you a bonus that we have because you're attending this specific workshop, okay? And this is not available anywhere else, okay? If you are watching this workshop, we have a bonus for you again. If you are brand new to High Level and don't have a High Level account, you can get a 30-day trial today. Okay, a 30-day trial today. Normally, we do a 14-day trial, but this time you can do a 30-day trial, and that is to our $297 account, the middle account. Okay, now here's the other thing. If you upgrade to the higher plan, so if you're on, let's say, for example, on a trial already, if you're already on a trial, what you want to do is move to a paid account. If you're on the $97 account today, what you want to do is move to the $297 account. And if you're already on a 297 account, what you want to do is move to the 497 plan. And if you're already on the 497 plan, what I'm going to do is simply have you speak with one of our live agents, and they're going to provide all the bonuses to you. And the bonuses are the high level, our own SaaS launch course, which we call the SaaSpreneur Local Hero Playbook. We sell this for thousands of dollars, by the way, for non-high levelers. We also have a 5-day challenge that we do every month, and you can get access to that for free as well. In addition to that, to really go off of this workshop, Allie Bloyd has provided a paid ad snapshot that's already with the team that you can get access to, as well as the cheat sheet, the offer creation sheet. Allie, I assume the sheet from today as well on the ad creatives framework, as well as the content slides for this workshop. You get all of that if you simply just upgrade, okay? And in order for you to upgrade, what you want to do is go to gohighlevel.com/upgrade now. And when you go to that link, here's what you would see. Let me share my screen here one more time. Sorry, we're not good at sales, but I just wanted to share the options with you here. Let's see here. So yeah, you'll see this funnel landing page here. And if you're a brand new customer, you want to click on the link on the left side that says start a trial, and that'll help you basically launch into a 30-day trial. If you already have a plan and you want to talk to somebody, maybe you're on 97, but you're kind of on the fence about going to 297 and not sure. What you want to do is click on this upgrade link. When you click on this upgrade link, it'll ask you, do you want to jump on a quick Zoom now or schedule a call so you can talk to a live agent? But you want to talk to a live agent that's going to help you understand the differences of plans, okay? They will tell you what's the difference between a 97 and a 297, and a 297 and a 497. So talk to a live agent. You can jump on a quick Zoom call. It's pretty easy to get into. Within like 5-6 minutes, you'll be able to talk to somebody. So, and if you do upgrade during this workshop, you'll get all those bonuses, that paid ad snapshot, all for free. All you have to do is upgrade to the higher plan because we truly believe in our plans. If you're already on a trial, again, I'm not going to extend 30 days worth of trial because you're 7 days through your normal 14-day trial. You would have to jump into a paid option, obviously. But if you're brand new, don't even have a high-level account, you can get a 30-day trial. I recommend you jump on it. So without any further ado, let's do Q&A. That's going to help you kind of unpack everything we talked about all in one place. So I'm going to go off of the raised hands on the chat here. So we're at 12:22. Let's keep Q&A going for till 12:45. Allie had mentioned she had extra time set apart today. Those of you that wants the replays, okay? I'll say it one time. The replays are going to be available in our high-level YouTube channel within the next couple of days. Okay, our production team is working on grabbing everything, editing everything, putting that into our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to access that. Let me go ahead and grab the link for those of you that want to upgrade now. And this option to upgrade is only right now while we're doing this workshop. Tomorrow is the last day. After that, you won't see this offer anywhere in high level among anybody else. So this is a specific offer just for those of you that are watching this workshop. Okay, so let's go with Daniel. So let's see, Daniel right here. I'm going to go ahead and pin you, Daniel. There you are. If everybody can stick to one question, make sure it's the most important question you have so we can get to as many questions as we possibly can. Daniel, what's your question? Where are you checking in from? Oh yeah, it'll help if I unmute. I had a ton of microphones going off, so I had to mute everybody earlier. Hey,
No
Daniel.
worries.
Yeah.
Hi, Daniel here from Austin, Texas.
Nice.
Hey, Allie, thank you for all the good information. I have a quick question about niches. Is there a niche that's too small to go for? I'm thinking about going after dog trainers and obviously expanding after that.
Yeah, so I have not yet found a niche that I feel like is too small. Ultimately, when it comes to your ads and your audiences, you want the audience to be as big as you can if you are going national or even, global. But I mean, I work with local businesses who have very small geographic audiences. So it does not stop you from generating leads. And in some cases, I think the more niche you get, there's less competition because people may not be focusing on that niche. There's also, other strategies that you can use to reach out to those people, but definitely do some research in terms of how many you feel like are out there in the US. But based on what you said, I mean, I think it's a totally viable niche.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Only thing I would add is pay attention to where your avatar is. Like a CPA and an accountant might be more relevant inside LinkedIn ads because that's where they hang out more versus like a dentist, they hang out on Facebook groups all day long versus a beauty salon person. They're very sensitive to how their Instagram looks, right? So certain platforms tend to have trends in certain industries. So I would pay attention to that as well.
Yeah.
And not that you asked me.
Well, because I remember, Allie, you said yesterday about 3 million is the size for your Facebook ads in terms of the size of the audience. And I'm assuming with my copy, getting specific with that will allow me to target them directly.
It will. And 3 million is what Facebook is encouraging people to have. You can absolutely run ads with a smaller audience size than 3 million. But in terms of like long-term scale, that is what they are pushing people towards.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
You're welcome.
Let's go with Omar. Hey, Omar, are you able to turn your camera on? And let me unmute here so you could chat. There you are. Where are you checking in from, Omar?
Yeah. Hello, I'm from Dubai.
Okay, awesome. What are your questions?
How are you? Just a small question. What's your take on messenger lead ads versus lead forms in terms of quality and engagement?
So I've used them both. Messenger is slightly more advanced, not crazy advanced, but it is slightly more advanced than getting started with the lead form. So I do typically recommend people start with the lead form. For Messenger, you can get good quality results. Again, it kind of depends on what you have in there. What is that automation actually doing? If you're doing something that has pre-qualification, Messenger can be really good for that. I don't do it as much as I used to, mainly because the strategies that I personally utilize are not really right for Messenger. But again, I've seen great results in the past. Definitely for lead magnets, you can get really good results there. The only thing I will say is, just making sure that all of the automations are set up properly, whether you're using ManyChat or if you're trying to build it out directly high level. Yeah. So, I mean, ManyChat is great, but I have seen, again, kind of mixed results. Like for some businesses, for some offers, it'll do really, really well. And then for others, you just won't see the traction. A lot of that depends on the avatar. Like, are these people using Messenger a lot or not? Not everybody has the Messenger app. So if they're on their phone and
sorry, Allie, I'm just, I'm specifically asking for agency ads for myself, for B2B.
Yeah.
My niche is real estate.
So I definitely know that real estate agents are using Messenger, and I have used Messenger ads for my own agency. So it can work very well. Again, a couple more complexities to add in there, but in general, it can be a great option.
Awesome.
Okay. Thanks, Allie.
For
yeah,
sure.
no problem.
Let's go with Ender. Is that right? Okay, awesome. Let me unmute. Okay, cool. Let's go with your question.
Hi. Yeah, thank you, Ali. It was a great session. I just wanted to ask about the ad accounts to use. I've seen you're using your personal account, right? I heard a lot of horror stories about accounts being blocked from running ads. In terms of the account to use and policies, do you have any suggestions, or will it be mentioned tomorrow? I don't know.
Yeah, so we will talk more about this tomorrow, but in general, I definitely recommend a couple of things. So first and foremost, be aware of what the ad policies are. Really familiarize yourself with those. Does that mean that even if you do everything right, you won't get ads rejected and things like that? No, it's being flagged by AI, and a lot of the time it is wrong. Sometimes they shut down accounts for no reason at all. So if you're an agency, you definitely want to have backup business manager accounts and backup ad accounts. So if you're going to do that, you have to make sure that everything is shared with one another. So if you've got this business manager and this business manager, you need to be an admin on both of those. All of the assets, the pages, the ad accounts, the pixels, they need to be shared between the two, because if one does get shut down, if you haven't previously shared those things, you're not going to be able to do it. Same thing with ad accounts. Having backup ad accounts is a great idea. And you want to get some money running through those. So I normally recommend that people run what we call the level 1 ads. These are mainly education, awareness, engagement based. You could run ads for $1 a day through your other ad account, because if you try and dive into that, let's say your account gets shut down, it's going to probably have a spend cap on it. It's not going to really let you drive the ads through it that you want to. So just kind of season it, get some ads going, get a good standing with your payments going. And that way it's going to be ready to go if you need it. So I've had ad accounts and business manager accounts hacked and disabled and shut down and all the things. But as long as you kind of do the prep work beforehand, knowing that this is a real thing that could happen. You never know when it's going to happen. Even if you ever do everything right, it could still happen. So just making sure that you protect yourself and you protect your clients. Like if you are running ads for your clients and you're doing that through your business manager, you don't want to be able to say, hey, our business manager got shut down, you're not going to be able to run ads. You need to have those backups prepared in advance in case you ever need them. Hopefully you won't, but odds are at some point it will come in handy.
Absolutely. And by the way, Chase Buckner just did a huge webinar on ads in general, lead generation in general, with a VP or a staff member from Meta, and they came in and taught how to look at the sensitivity of all the different type of formats. And also folks from Meta will be at our high level conference next week. So you can chat with them directly in person and have lunch and ask them about all the ins and outs of the sensitivity around advertising and ad managers. It's definitely a challenge. And I'll tell you, you better have a couple of different ad accounts, especially when you go full blown scaling. To start off, maybe not. But either way, Maria, welcome in. Where are you checking in from? Thanks for your patience. What are your questions?
Hi, I'm from Connecticut, and I have a question. Thank you, Ali. This is very comprehensive. I like the formatting and the organization. Thank you so much for sharing so much
Yes,
content.
you're welcome.
The question I have is, you mentioned that when you're testing an offer, you want to test with a lead form. My experience with Facebook lead forms is the low quality of the leads. What do you recommend in order to improve the quality of the leads when you're using lead forms?
Yeah, so a couple of different things. That is a common, comment or thought from people when it comes to lead forms. So the way the lead form is set up matters. Making sure that you're using certain options does matter. I always encourage using custom questions. Even with that, we still need to be aware that their contact information is going to be auto-filled. So that's another big thing, because it may not be that the lead was low quality. It may be that their contact information was auto-filled and they didn't go and edit it. And so if you're trying to email them, they're not getting the email. You definitely want to use the phone number as that primary source of information, because most of the time people don't change phone numbers very often and they use it for security purposes. So having automations that really are focused on text, that you're doing outbound phone calls and you're not relying just on email is important. But on top of that, we want to give people a next step right from the lead form. So at the end of the form, there's a button. We want to tell them, hey, you're not done yet. By default, those lead forms, the text at the top says, thanks, you're all set. We want to say, no, you're not all set. There is another step that you need to complete to claim this offer or to get started. Click the button that says this, and you're going to be able to do that. So you're giving the people who are more serious a way to self-segment. If you don't drive them to that next step, then every lead is going to look the same to you. But if you do, you're going to see the people that are more interested. And you're also, by looking at their information, if you do add those custom questions, you're going to know a little bit more about them. And so you can have more tailored follow-up. Lead forms, for the most part, are phase one. Once we validate that these ads are working, the audience is working, the offer is working, we know that we're getting them in with a little less friction. Now we're going to start adding in some complexity. And based on the data that you've seen from those initial ads, we'll know, okay, what percentage of these leads are scheduling? What percentage of those schedules are showing up? And then now we kind of have that benchmark and that baseline to be able to add on to that. Something that I usually see is that people are just not giving them a button that takes them to the next step. They don't have a good automation that keeps driving people to that next step. They're not formatting the form correctly. We also want to really draw attention to the fact that your information is going to be autofilled. Please check this and make sure that it is accurate. So sometimes it's just the little things. But I will say there are some cases where the lead form is the best final destination for a certain strategy. But there are some strategies we would never use a lead form with outside of that initial 7-day offer validation ad. And in a lot of cases, the conversion ads can far outperform lead ads in terms of cost per lead and all of those things. But you don't want to build out something complex before you really know if this is going to work for you. So being able to just start with the lead form allows you speed. So let's get this going. Let's not wait to build out some complex funnel. See what the response is and be able to identify based on those leads who's more serious, and then nurture them. Just like with anything, not 100% of people are going to self-schedule, and not 100% of people are going to schedule, even with all of the follow-up in the world. So that's okay. But we really just want to make sure that it is getting leads, because if you're not getting leads with lead forms, it's going to be much more challenging to get them with conversions for the beginner when it comes to ads for the most part. Again, landing pages and funnels can outperform lead forms on the front end cost all the time, but the funnel has to be really strong. The offer has to be really strong. It has to be done in a certain way. And so we just don't necessarily want to worry too much more outside of, are you getting leads? Are you getting scheduled appointments? Are those scheduled appointments showing up? And that show up rate is something we fine tune in phase 2 and phase 3. We're just, again, adding more complexity as we go. So I wouldn't really just worry too much about that. This is more so, are people resonating with the offer? Is the audience working? Is the ad working? Am I getting leads, and am I getting schedules? Because if you're not getting any schedules, then you're not out of phase 1. There's something else that has to be done there, because it technically should get more challenging when you switch over to conversions. But I mean, I think that's definitely a good next step for most people, but we're just going to keep it simple to start.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great point there. The only thing I would add here is internally in marketing, like we have a policy to make sure there are no dead ends in any of our systems. So what that means is like never send traffic to a thank you page that simply just says thank you.
Yeah.
Because that's a dead end. They're not going to go anywhere else. Even if you throw in a button that says log into the platform or download my lead magnet or schedule a call, you want to do that versus just saying thanks, because that just leads to a dead end. So either way, let's go with Derek. Hey, Derek, where are you checking in from? Let me go ahead and unmute you. And what's your question? These questions are great, by the way.
I'm here in Dallas with you guys, so
okay.
kind of like neighbors. But yeah, so Allie, thank you for all the information. It's been great. When you're running your ads, do you separate by gender? So one set of ad for males and another for females, or do you lump them in all together?
So it does depend on the business, the industry, and the offer. For me personally, I do not. I actually work with a higher percentage of males than I do with females, not intentionally. That's just kind of what has happened. But I work with both groups. So I put everything together. There are some businesses where we might separate it out. So for example, I have a client that's a local dance school. That local dance school sells to moms far more than they sell to dads. So we would have female specific audiences in some cases, and then we might have male specific audiences in some cases, and we might test them both together as well. So it really does depend on, what you're selling, who you're selling to, that avatar. If your avatar is one gender primarily, then yeah, separate it out. Because again, we want to make sure that your dollars are getting the biggest bang for their buck. So same thing with age. If you've never once sold to anybody under the age of 30, then let's just set the minimum age at 30. That doesn't mean there wouldn't be outliers, but we're not marketing to get the outliers. We're marketing to get the primary group of people that we're looking for. You could always test different messaging to males and females. I mean, males and females think about things very differently in certain circumstances. Different points would appeal more to those different genders, but it's not a requirement. It really, again, is very offer and industry specific.
Awesome. Let's go with Andrew Phillips. Hey, Andrew. Andrew, you look familiar. I feel like you were part of the 5-day challenge program. Let me make sure I unmute you. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Okay.
it's me, Paulson. Same Andrew.
Okay, awesome. Good to see you again.
Hey, nice to see you. Hey, thank you and Allie for the information, especially about the backup agency account.
Awesome.
I wasn't aware of that. But my
Definitely a
question
good
is,
idea.
the ad copy that you went over, does that apply just for Facebook ads and Instagram, or does it apply for our lead copy as well?
So it can be used in different ways on different platforms. It does depend on where you're using it. So for example, with YouTube ads, we don't actually have ad copy. We just have the creative, which is the video. But as you saw in one of the examples, I have day in the life ad copy. I turn that copy into a video. So you can still use these formats and these frameworks for video scripts as well as for ad copy scripts. There are different things. So there are different things that work well for different platforms. So just take a look at what you feel like is, the common format on some of these platforms. And you do want to tailor it a little bit to that. But in general, the copy itself is great copy. If you've got great copy, that copy should be able to be utilized in a variety of ways, but it does just need to be, changed and formatted to best fit the medium or the platform that you're advertising on.
Okay, awesome. Let's go with Jim O'Brien. Hey, Jim, how's it going? Good to see you. Where are you checking in from? We got about 4 minutes, so maybe like 4 more questions. Let's see. There you are. I just unmuted you. Sorry about that.
Massachusetts, and I want to thank both of you. This has been really great to this point, and I'm sure tomorrow's going to even be better. The question I have is, Allie, you had mentioned earlier that you worked with remodelers. I am a remodeler, actually retired this year in May. So I've been doing that for 30 plus years. And my specialty is kitchens and baths. So in that, when I look at the avatar, certainly I know what the avatar is, but I see it as 2 segments. And I want to know how to break it out, because there is the segment that is the high-end kitchen and bath remodeler, and usually has a very formal office, usually has very well staffed and everything else. And there's the other side of it that is the person that's still climbing the ladder, but is still a very viable avatar.
Yeah.
And do you address them separately, or do you kind of advertise to both of them? How do you determine which way to go?
Yeah. So what I'd recommend is that for the offer validation ads, you would try and target them together for the most part, because it's really more about the offer. You do still want to speak to the remodelers if there is a certain point at which you can't really help people. It's good to separate that. But I have done campaigns that are focused on those different types of businesses. So as a whole, you will see a lot of those kind of like one-man show type of remodeling businesses, and they can do really well financially. They're going to have some limitations in terms of staff. They're going to be out in the field a lot. But what I found more than anything is that a lot of times the really high-end remodelers believe that if something's not specific to them, that it's not for them. They're like, well, I'm really high end. I only serve this type of client. So if it's not just for that, this probably isn't going to work for me. So you will likely want to address that. But what you can do is in the copy, you can say, I've helped people like Joe, who went from $5 million a year to $20 million a year. This is also the same system that helped Bob go from $200,000 a year to $1 million a year. So you can actually use the examples and that social proof in the copy to show people the types of individuals that you work with. So again, I have clients and students that focus on different industries, and their copy might say, you know, if you are an HVAC business owner making at least $1 million a year, this is for you. Okay. Because ultimately what they're doing isn't truly a good fit for people who are under that revenue. Or maybe it's, if you're a remodeler with at least 2 subcontractors or employees, this is for you. Because sometimes it's less about the revenue and it's more about the team size. It could be profit related. It does depend on exactly, you know, what you're doing for them. But I would say initially, to simplify, just start with both. Try and work in those examples in the copy where you can. And then as you start to get traction, you can test segmenting those out and having something that's very specifically designed for that smaller individual remodeler and something that's designed more for that larger, more luxury brand.
And that would be more so on the marketing side of it, because certainly the product background side of it is going to be very, very similar based on the fact that they both have the same needs. I mean, the small guy is walking around with his phone all the way up to his face all day because he's talking to customers. The big guy has his phone up to his face because he's talking to subcontractors and
absolutely.
And consultants. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I'll just say, you know, I have found that most of them do have the same needs. The only real question is, can they afford what you're selling? Sometimes, yes, you know, there's no real difference. And how do they perceive themselves? Because absolutely the luxury, like higher end remodelers, designers, and really in a lot of different industries, those people that serve the luxury market, they see themselves differently in terms of, well, if it works for them, then it's probably not a good fit for me. So I think it's just something that you want to try and address, because it's not really a big difference, but it's just a difference in how they think about it.
You could just present it basically as a different feature set and say this feature set is for this size and this feature set is for this size.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Great round of Q&A here. So before we close out, I just want to share the offer we have specifically for this workshop, okay? And you're not going to find this anywhere else inside or outside of High Level. What's happening is, because you are participating in this workshop, and if you don't have a High Level account altogether to begin with, you can jump on a 30-day trial if you want to. If you are already on an existing plan, if you simply upgrade to the higher plan, you'll be able to get all these bonuses as well. And what are those bonuses? We have our SaaSpreneur launch course, which is our SaaSpreneur Local Hero Playbook. We also have a 5-day SaaS launch challenge that we do every single month that you can get, and those are worth thousands of dollars. Allie Bloyd has also built out and provided a paid ad snapshot, which is so expensive that she sells out to the market, just FYI. In addition to that, there's a PDF cheat sheet as well as an offer creation sheet where you can kind of map out the customer avatar. You'll get the slide decks from this workshop as well, in addition to the creative worksheet. All of it is worth thousands of dollars. You can get all of this for free if you simply just upgrade to a higher plan or jump into a 30-day trial. How do you do that? You go to gohighlevel.com/upgrade now. And here's the thing. If you're already on a trial, go to a paid option. This does not extend your trial by 30 days, just to be clear. If you're on the 97 plan, upgrade to the 297 plan, you get all these bonuses. If you're on the 297 plan, go to the 497 plan and get started with SaaS, and we'll help you there. And if you're already on the 497 plan, we want you to simply talk to a live agent and they will give you access to all those bonuses that I just shared. So let's real quick just go to the actual page. Here's what happens when you go to the actual page for that offer. You have 2 buttons on the left side. It says Start Trial. That's what you click if you are brand new and don't even have a trial account. If you already have an existing plan, click on upgrade now, and that's for existing users. And when you click it, it'll give you this option. You'll be able to jump on a quick Zoom or schedule a call later. However, jump on a call with one of our live agents and they will help you navigate through that. Basically, the idea is to help you understand the difference between the plans so you're not confused in any way of what you're getting. But these are specific to this workshop. That offer will expire as soon as this workshop is done tomorrow. Tomorrow's our last day. Allie, what should we expect for tomorrow? Today, we talked a lot about ad creatives and copy and things like that. Help us understand what we're going to get tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're really going over the ad account, the business manager account, and how to set up your ads correctly on the technical level. What does that campaign structure need to look like to test these two different audiences, these two different pieces of copy, these two different pieces of creative? Because the structure and the technical elements, they matter a lot in terms of your results. You could have a great ad, but if you set it up the wrong way, you're not going to see the results that you're looking for. So that's what we're going to cover tomorrow. And hopefully you guys will, at the end of this 3-day presentation, have everything you need to get that first campaign set up, launched, and ready to go.
Absolutely. And again, replays will be available in the High Level YouTube channel. Give us a couple of days to put all that together, chop it all up, and load it up. So give us some time to just get on that. But either way, looking forward to see you all tomorrow, 12 p.m. EST. Okay. Thank you, Allie. I'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. See you guys there.